Sure. Well, we didn't find very much. I was hired by the Trump campaign literally the day after the 2020 election by the group of lawyers who were formally attached to the campaign, not the Rudy Giuliani's, not the Sidney Powell's. These were lawyers who were serious about their work, who wanted to do due diligence. And they hired me to look for voter fraud to see if we could find voter fraud sufficient to mount a legal challenge that would survive legal scrutiny. And while I was doing that work, they began to trust me more and more, and they asked me to begin evaluating claims of voter fraud that others brought to their attention. And I looked at about 15 different claims, every one of which we were able to determine and prove very clearly were false. So I'm going to leave the particulars of what the data proves till we get a little bit closer to the book release. But there's national data, comprehensive national. uh, so I'm a two-time candidate for governor. I understand messaging, and elections are about having a message that appeals to a broad enough coalition of voters so that you win a plurality of votes. And Trump's messaging, quite frankly, is becoming more and more narrow. It's becoming more extreme. And I believe he's losing the support of key blocks of voters. And there's data that actually proves that. Mm. So I have been subpoenaed by Jack Smith's legal action in D.C. I've been subpoenaed by Fonnie Willis's legal action in Fulton County, Georgia. I'm a fact witness in both of those legal actions. All of my communications to the Trump campaign, I had to turn over to the investigators at the time. So this is before charges were formally brought. I remain a fact witness. I haven't heard from either set of prosecutions since all of my materials went over there, but I've got to believe it's not a small chance that I get called to testify if we ever get to trial in either of those two actions. Mm. Yes. So my I reported to a Trump campaign lawyer who accepted everything I had told him as the truth. Other members above him within the campaign apparatus accepted what I told them as the truth. That truth was communicated to Mark Meadows. In fact, the lawyer I reported to it was shown on one of the January 6th committee broadcasts in a 1 minute video clip where he described taking my findings to Mark Meadows, who was told there was no fraud sufficient to change the course of any of the elections in the swing states. And Mark Meadows' response to that was, that means there's no there, referring to the claims of voter fraud. And then Mark Meadows, it came out in the last month or two, back in April or May, told Jack Smith that he had taken those findings and the end result to the Oval Office. So my findings went all the way up and made it into the Oval Office. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.